Hey everyone, my name is Tyler Flagg and I'm the founder of Flying Company. The goal of Flying Company for operators is to be able to help them find and assess and hire and pay pilots all in one place. For pilots, there's kind of two goals. The first one is that we want to be able to help facilitate you being able to very easily work directly with operators instead of needing to go to any third-party firms. The second one is that we want to help you put your best foot forward. Ours has been used as this proxy for pilot experience for far too long, and we believe that there's a better way of doing that. And so we want to be able to, combine all the information that makes up what we like to call the whole pilot and be able to put that in one place to be able to present to the operator so that they can find the right pilot, not just any pilot. So with that said, let's talk a little bit about how to get started. So the first thing is go to flyingcompany.com, click register, and then register as a pilot. This is completely free for pilots. We don't ask any, monthly subscription or, yearly subscription, and you are paid what you are owed when you provide quotes. So when you first log in, it might say operator view up here. That's totally fine. You haven't done anything wrong. But what you need to do is just go to the menu. You'll see a button down here that says create a pilot account. Once you click that, then you should see this pilot view up here, and then you're registered as a pilot. So up here, you're going to see some onboarding instructions. So you can just follow along with those, or you can just go to the menu and then just go straight down this line, right? So the first one is general information. So this is just, your basic information so that the operator knows exactly who they're talking to. The next is certificates and ratings. So, here's where we're going to put your, medical certificate information so everyone knows that you're current on that, as well as your certificates, right? So you can click add a certificate, ATP commercial. You can add your flight instructor stuff in there too to just kind of build a better picture of your experience. But all this basic stuff that we all know, right? So if you need to be able to add a new rating or a new commercial privilege, you just click there, boom, click add. And then it'll add it. And then you can add your type ratings and everything like that down at the bottom, as well as your limitations. The next page is hours in training. So the top is just a very basic matrix of, big picture hours. And then down here is where we get into the aircraft specific hours. Now, this is very important. As you'll see, there's a little thing down here explaining that the way that you are notified about trips is based off of the aircraft models that you have selected in here. All right, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go click, add a type rating or aircraft qualification. We specify that specifically because of things like the PC-12 that don't actually have a type rating, but are still kind of treated like type ratings. So you'll go ahead and select your type rating here. You'll see it pop up here, and then you're going to add the models that are associated with that type rating. And so, essentially just, add in all of the models in here that you have flown and you are qualified in. If there is, differences training required, then you can add that certificate in here. But, so you put your hours in here, you select your training facility, the training date, whether you're trained under Part 91 or Part 135 standards, add your training diploma. You don't need to put the full training record. That might fail if it's too big a file. Just add your training diploma. If there's differences training required, then put that in there as well. Right? Once that section is done, now you should be getting notified of trips for those specific aircraft models. The next thing, credentials. So really important. Again, we want to be able to kind of build this whole pilot picture of your experience, right? And so if you have any of these credentials, please add them in. Also, if there's additional credentials that you think that we should add in, send me an email, please, tyler@flyingcompany.com, and then we can work on adding that stuff in there. So, what you can do if you haven't already done this, if you have credentials through NBAA, you can go to the NBA's website, you can log in under your profile, and then you can click the URL for your credential, save it, and then add it in here, right? And so you can click the view button, and then it actually takes people to a, authenticated version of your credential through NBAA. So super cool. If you've got professional development training, you can, add all that stuff in there. If you've gone through the Wings program, or if you've done UPRT training, you can also add those certifications in there. So this is great. Operators love this because they love being able to see that you take the profession of flying seriously and you go above and beyond. The next thing is an SOP knowledge check. So very recently, just at the last NBAA base, NBAA put together and published some industry standard, standard operating procedures. And they have been, gracious enough to let us at Flying Company include these in here. So you can download the NBA's SOPs right here if you want, review them, and then you can go ahead and take a knowledge check. So it's quick 10 question, correctable to 100%. Go through this. This is a great way of being able to showcase to the operator that, again, you take safety seriously, you take, flying as a professional seriously, and you're familiar with the NBAA standard operating procedures. Next thing is, and the final thing really, at least as far as your pilot profile is concerned, is the insurance questions. These are all the standard insurance questions that pilot history forms from brokers and insurance companies always ask. So please go ahead, fill this out to the best of your ability. At the very end, you're going to certify that all of this information is correct and that you are authorized to operate as a pilot on the aircraft that you say that you are. You are going to be asked to re-sign this within 7 days of providing a quote. It will be very apparent when you try to provide a quote and it's been outside of 7 days, it's just going to prompt you to come back in here and re-sign it. What's nice is that once you've done that and your pilot profile is all complete, you can download your pilot history form for yourself whenever you want. Even if it's for a trip that's not going through the flying company platform, you can go in here, you can download it. It has all your information, certificates, ratings, type ratings, hours, images of your license and everything like that. So feel free to use that. Also, one of the cool things that we just put out is your own public facing profile, right? So if you're a professional pilot and you don't already have a website and you don't feel like creating a website, you can just use this. So you're going to have your own individual URL that you can go to whenever you want. You can make this publicly visible. So if it's green, that means anyone can see it. You can also hide it if you don't want other people being able to see that information. That's totally fine. We get it. But if you have it publicly visible, you can download this QR code. This is unique to you. So you can add it to a business card or anything like that so that people can, very easily hit that URL and then see your public profile. So all the same kind of information, except obviously we don't put any like personal sensitive information on here about you. This is mainly information that you can also find on the FAA's website, but also other information like your hours and your About Me section, as we'll see. So the About section, total flight hours, aircraft specific hours, certificates and ratings, and then here's these credentials, right? So this is a great way. You're welcome to use this as much as you want and share this, keep this updated, because this can kind of serve as like a landing page. Think of it like a LinkedIn profile page for yourself. The last thing that you're going to need to do in order to be able to provide a code on trip is go to add your bank account information in here, right? So we use Stripe. Stripe is great. It's, industry leader in terms of data security. And so we kind of outsource all that stuff to Stripe. So when you first get in here, you're going to say, I'm registering as a independent contractor, or I'm registering as a business entity. That could be an LLC, it could be an S Corp. This is really important. There's a lot of operators who care about that. And they want to know whether or not they're working with an independent contractor or a business entity, right? So be very intentional and specific about which one that you set up in this, please. We've got a verification checklist, so you'll kind of be able to see, if you have done everything within the Stripe portal that you need to be allowed to create a quote for a trip. And then down here is where you can put in your default hours for all the different your default day rates for all the different models that you fly. Okay, so once that's all done, should take, maybe 30 minutes. It should say that your onboarding stuff is complete. Now we can go to the trips page and see what the next step is. So this is going to be the final thing that we talk about in this particular video, and then we'll pick up another time. As you can see, here's my calendar. It sees all the trips that have been created, trips that I've provided quotes on, as well as trips in the past that I have flown. So you can see I've got one quote here that I sent for a Denver trip. And I'm just waiting to, hear back from the operator. But this is a brand new trip that was just created, right? So let's say I'm not available or very interested in doing this trip, but I know somebody who might be. I can click the share button and I can type in an email address for a pilot and send it to them. And if they are new, if they don't already have a flying company account and they get hired from the trip, well, then you get, immediately deposited a, $100 finder's fee into your bank account that you have in the billing payment section. So super cool there. If you are, available and interested for the trip, you just click view. You're able to see a bunch of details here. You can see the itinerary, you can see the aircraft, the avionics, the configuration. You can see some notes here if it sounds like something you might want to do. Very easy. We bring in your default day rate, but you can always change it. You can estimate how many, travel days you might need, what kind of air travel, ground travel, hotel costs, other expenses. So we're just going to say it like that, and then Operators love when you add some notes in here, because it helps them get a bit bigger, better picture of exactly what the totality of the trip is going to cost them and the principal. So please take a moment to just, maybe look up some flights on Kayak or something like that if you need to air travel, and just give it like a roundabout estimate. No one's holding you to this, of course. Things change, everybody gets that, but again, it's pretty helpful for the operators. So once you put in your quote, you can review it down here, make sure everything's accurate, submit quote, review it again, confirm, and then it's official. You provided a quote for a trip, and the next thing you're going to see is the dashboard for that trip specifically. And so this is where you're able to learn a little bit more about the operator, see what company they're with, see what kind of safety, audit credentials they have if necessary. You can also pull up a, trip itinerary, so you can see a nice map that visualizes exactly what this trip consists of. And if you have any additional questions for them or additional documents that you'd like to send to them, then you can always do that right here. Okay, so that's about it. I think that's a pretty good walkthrough of how to get your pilot profile set up and how to provide a quote for your first trip. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, any ideas, anything that we can do to be able to help you, again, put your best foot forward, please feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Tyler. You can find me on LinkedIn, Tyler@flyingcompany.com, and I look forward to talking to you. Bye-bye.